Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning, and hello, kids. What?
Your volume dropped off. I could barely hear you.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there. Like I can barely hear you. That was weird. You were loud and clear in the green room, and now I'm not sure what happened.
How about now?
That's a little better, yeah. That was weird.
Weird.
Yeah, you're coming in, but you're really, really quiet. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Good morning, and
Another tech day.
there goes another intro blowing. Okay, let's try again. Sorry, kids, I'm not in a good place today. Well, hello, and good morning, kids. Welcome to Season 3 and episode number, I don't know, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Fire Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, December 18th, 2023, and I believe by the sound outside my window that it is a rainy day here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. We have a Monday morning fight for you. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Mystery Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And let's do the most important thing we do every day. It is ask you how your mental health is doing today, sir.
Pretty good, I think. I'm not going to lie. I'm physically and emotionally exhausted from the weekend. After the PubCast on Saturday, we had 2 Christmas parties to attend, which kept us out till 2 a.m, which is not something this old grizzly is used to because I'm old. I go to bed at 11 o'clock and get up at 5 a.m. So 2 a.m. on a Saturday is really difficult for me. So yeah, I'm still feeling the effects of it. And yesterday I spent the day with my folks, but between my back and my massive migraine that came on, it was not the best day. So yeah, I was asleep at like 7:30 last night, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Is your volume on your box maxed out? The USB box? And now I can't hear you at all.
Okay.
And now we just get noise. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can't hear you at all, sir. It was good there at the beginning. And now it's gone. Well, you keep working on that. and I will see what I can fix on my end. I'm just going to check and see if, yeah, that should be good. Everything should be good on this side, so I don't know. No, yeah, no audio. Just check the cable. No, we still can't hear you, sir. Yeah. Don't know what happened there. It was good, but now oh, wait. Did I hear you? No.
One.
Oh, wow. There you go. There you go. It just dropped again. So there must be a loose connection somewhere because you were there and then you were gone. You're going to check it? Check and see if it's the cable at the computer. If it's the box seems to be good, but check the cable at the computer. Yeah, you're still not there. Well, thanks, James. The reach around fund. I like that. No, can't hear you at all. Nothing. Yeah, no problem. Just take a time, maybe do a reboot, and I'll be here for a few minutes to try and entertain the kids while you see if you can figure out the tech end on your side. Sometimes things just go awry. It was weird because we were sitting there having a chat just before the show started, and I could hear him loud and clear. Everything was good. All of a sudden, it just dropped right off. I don't know what happened. It went haywire. Okay, he's going to go to the other computer and see if that'll work for him. Don't know what happened there. We'll get this straightened out. Sometimes things just go sideways, as we say, and I can't explain to you why that happens. Because it was, like I said, it was working perfectly, and it sounded great. Because and the other thing, in the space he's in right now, the audio's a little bit better because there's less background noise, less echo. But it just didn't want to work for some reason. So he'll go to the other computer. He'll get set up there in a couple of minutes, and then we'll get it all figured out. In the meantime, I'll try and keep you entertained as much as I possibly can with my rambling, incoherent statements. I have those frequently. I did discover something. I don't know if you folks are aware of this, but I was reading about this earlier this morning on the Twitter. And as it turns out, Donald Trump's personal security detail during the January 6th, what would you call it? A terrorist attack, domestic terrorist attack, when they stormed the Capitol. Trump's Secret Service detail deleted all their texts and emails. They refused to testify under oath. They trashed Cassidy Hutchinson for telling the truth about Trump, colluded with the Oath Keeper terrorists, got the vice president in a one-vehicle car crash, and we're just going to let this go? I'm like, wow. It really is the end of democracy, it seems, in the United States of America. I really feel for my friends and family down there. Like, that is really disturbing. I guess the president was in a car accident, or I'm not even sure what happened. The car reportedly plowed through and crashed into President Joe Biden's motorcade that was parked. The incident took place in Wilmington, Delaware. Secret Service agents drew their weapons on the driver as the vehicle appeared to ram into an SUV that had closed down a street while Biden attended a nearby campaign event. The president had just emerged from a Biden-Harris 2024 headquarters in downtown Wilmington. So there's some bizarre things happening right now in the United States. I don't know what is going on, and it's really troublesome, to say the least. Well, what can one do? I guess right now all I can really do is sit back and watch. I'm really really disturbed by it all. Thanks for the super chat, folks. We really do appreciate it. Helping to put some money in the coffers, and that's money's always good, especially when you're trying to run a show like this that is expensive to run because of the amount of money we've poured into equipment and added up bandwidth cost, as James can tell you, because his bandwidth costs were quite expensive. I think you're on the Starlink now, which works much better, but that's not cheap either. Oh, thanks, Mateo. That's awesome. Your neighbor's house is on fire? Oh my goodness. That is horrible. I hope everybody's gets out alive okay. That's pretty terrifying. I hope the fire department get it under control as quickly as possible. Yeah, the upload speeds are slow. You're right, James, but better than it was. I did see that. Sorry, I did see that yesterday, Dan, and I'm reluctant to put much in the way of commentary about it. I think, if you're going to protest, sure, but why are you protesting at a shopping mall where people are trying to get their Christmas shopping done? Hey, you don't celebrate Christmas, that's fine, but other people do, so maybe let them do their Christmas shopping instead of trying to disrupt them. Oh my God! See, look, this $500 a month for Bell Hub internet for 4 years. Yeesh. That is really disturbing. Can you tell that I'm a scrambled brain this morning? I barely have my stuff together. First cup of coffee of the day. My dogs are goth. How much danger is the neighborhood in from the fire? I hope everybody's okay. My goodness, that's really disturbing. Oh, and I'm reading here how in the province of New Brunswick, COVID numbers are now suddenly through the roof, and it looks very, very bad. 1 in every 17 people is infected with COVID. I sounded like Doug Ford there. One in about every 17 people. So it's 29,400 to 39,600 infections in the past week in the province of New Brunswick. So that's not good. That's really bad. Okay, there's Mr. Beaver. Let's see, he's back.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
It's a little low if you want to turn it up just a touch, a scooch, a squiggle,
two.
a squeak. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
There we go. So,
We edit all this out for the audio, and we'll start here.
well, exactly. Yeah, for the audio portion, I will cut it all completely and we'll start over. But for the live stream, we're here, we're live, we're rolling, we're rocking, and we're going to get her done.
All right. Well, good morning and hello, kids. Welcome to season 3 and episode number, I am going to guess, 275 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is Monday, December 18th, 2023. And yes, the Beaver is back. I feel like Elton John should be playing a song here.
See what I can do.
And it is a rainy day, definitely here at the Beaver Lodge, now that I can see out the window. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver. For those listening at home on the podcast version, this isn't actually a take 2, just so you know. With me is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. But before we go any further, the most important thing we do every day, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Yeah, mental health is, all things considered, pretty good. I am physically exhausted from the weekend. As Saturday, the PubCast, very successful PubCast. Yes. We had a lot of great interactivity with a lot of wonderful people, and want to say thanks to Wishful Son again for picking up our tab. That was so generous. Mm-hmm. I'm still kind of blown away by that. So thank you very, very much. We had a really good time, and had some friends drop in from online and both in person. It was a good afternoon, and good pub chat as always. Always is good, and good to see you too, sir.
Mm-hmm. I always enjoy time in your company, and also Mademoiselle Fox's, because it was nice to be able to give you congratulations in person.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, so I got a message from her. I don't know what time she sent the message. Let me just read it to you, because it's just so adorable. This was from her last night, around 7 o'clock. I just watched the entire Friday show. Babcock interview was excellent. I'm so proud of you for what you shared. The "we got married" part, you, Douglas, the kind words in the chat, I'm verklempt. Now, she might get mad at me for reading that out, but come on, that's just a lovely message.
That is a lovely message. Ah, hello, everyone here who joined us. Thank you so much. Good morning. My dogs are Goth, Kit, Kit, my dogs are gone. I should say Kit Saucy, Kit Jillian, Kit Shelley. Hello, Nona. So lovely to see you. Kit Mohan, Kit to the Daily Beaver, Kit Linda M. And if there are more of you here, just because I joined on here, I didn't say your earlier chats and interventions don't appear. So there we go, Kit Ellen. So it's not that I've forgotten you, it's just that I don't see you on yet. My mental health, not great. Kits, not
Yeah, what's up with that?
the last few weeks have been heavy. There's been every second day on Facebook, someone I care about is either in the hospital, has lost someone dear, uh, or has died. Uh, so I got news yesterday of someone for whom I had a lot of affection, who had a long, long, long battle with cancer and was beating it all the time and was going back in one more time. And I mean, we were all pretty sure he would beat it again because it's just what he does, and he didn't. Uh, for my friend Andy, what a warrior you are, and yeah, you're going to be missed. This one stings. Oh yes, and don't forget Mateo. Good morning, my good friend Mateo. Mwah.
You sent us a $5.
Big hugs. So yeah, that one stung a bit, and everyone around me is rather edgy these days, or is going through some stuff, and I'm always happy to help friends that are going through stuff. So I mean, if you've asked me for help and you happen to be listening, this is not about you, not about you. That I'm always happy to do. But my Beaver sweetie has been going through some tense moments with regards to what's going on with his patent.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, that's got to be troublesome.
yeah,
and frustrating.
He's been trying to get a signature on something since July, and for some reason, the person's just dragging their heels on doing that.
Probably being paid off by somebody big.
No, I don't.
Once somebody gets wind of it?
No, nothing like that.
No? Okay.
Nothing like
I don't know.
So, but it's just like, can we please move on to the next phase of our lives, please? Just sign
Yeah,
the damn.
that's just the exhaustion portion of it, right? It's
been
like,
3
okay,
years since he's
wearing it.
graduated. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
Because everybody else has moved on to the next phase of their lives, and we're still stuck where we are. Because it's just not a matter of urgency for anybody else, and it's like how long is it considered fair to make someone wait? Right. So that's going.
Well, they're probably wrapped up in their own stuff and don't even consider anybody else.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's been happening.
People can be selfish sometimes.
There's been 2 people involved, and it's been happening for 3 years now.
Yeah, that's a long process.
So that's been going on. And in a couple of places where I volunteer, my expertise is not being respected. So
That's frustration.
Yeah. And then so yesterday I cooked because it's what I do when I want to calm down. And well, the most important ingredient was love, and I was not cooking with love, so nothing turned out.
That happens.
Yeah, nothing turned out, and then the straw that broke my back, which is it's always a stupid thing, but could not get the CPAP mask on, the APAP mask on to save my life. It was like a freaking Rubik's cube. Yesterday, could not get it on, and once I got it on, I couldn't get the host to stay connected, and then I couldn't get the mask to seal, and so I'm gonna have to go back to the Slenter again for like the 4th time now to try and get something that works. The tubes are not connecting anymore, and it's just so. I was ready to go to bed at 11 o'clock last night, and didn't get to bed until 2:20. because I was just fighting with everything. So around 3 o'clock in the morning, I had these really dark thoughts of doing no more shows for the rest of the year. That's it, just out. Going to Ottawa for a month and just staying there. Uh, quitting
Hmm.
the 2 shows for which I got roles, and quitting all my volunteer positions. Basically, just going back to the life I had before I met Alex for a month. Just me, myself, alone in my condo in Ottawa for a month and a half, and just nothing, no responsibilities other than feeding myself.
Well,
I never
if that
went
is
there.
what you need to do,
Yep.
if that's what you need to do, then do it.
I've never had that thought
Mm.
ever. I've been with my Beaver sweetie 11 years. I've never had the thought
Sometimes time
that I
apart
want
is
to be alone
necessary.
for a month. And it's not time apart from him,
No.
just
No.
alone.
No, it's literally got nothing to do with him.
I want nobody to ask me questions, nobody to ask me to do anything, nobody asks me to
Yeah.
help, nobody, just me.
You need rest and relaxation and a lack of responsibilities.
So
And and what Jillian says here sounds like depression. I'm getting those vibes for sure. Because you got to remember, so many people don't understand what depression is. They think, well, you should feel happier. No, that's not it.
mm,
Depression is a physical response to unbalanced brain chemistry, where you are exhausted all the time. You can't get out of bed, and eventually you have no will to do anything.
mhm.
And then your depression will start to lie to you and tell you that nobody loves you and that you're hated and blah 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 blah.
Yep.
So
This is not so much
yeah,
that, it's more like I'm over solicited.
mm, I understand.
Yeah. Just a little over
Yeah, you're just
solicited.
stretched too thin.
Yeah. And it would be easier, not easier, if people would just accept what I said. Okay, that's the way it is. Good.
Hmm.
Then go. But everybody wants to negotiate something, wants to have an argument about a point, wants to debate a point, wants to be right, wants to. And it's just like, you asked me to do something, let me do it. But then they
Hmm.
ask me to do something, and then they stand over my shoulder, and then they say every second of the way, you're doing it wrong. It's just leave. Just, do you want to do it? Because you asked me to do it. If you want to do it, I'm happy to step aside. So it's yeah, I've been feeling a little over solicited, and that just people are just not cooperating. And
Hmm.
I don't understand why, because everybody knows what I'm capable of. So I just don't know why my competence is being doubted and questioned all of a sudden. It's just really weird. So yeah, but you know what? Um, just these things usually sort themselves out. But it was the first time in a long time, or ever, actually, that I've just said, you know what, just ditch it all and see how you do without me.
Hmm.
So that's not a good feeling. That's not a positive feeling, and it's
Yeah.
so totally not in line with my personality.
Well, it sounds like you're just physically exhausted.
Yeah, a little bit. So, but hey, if I do need, trust me, if I do need time, I will take it, because that I'm very good on that. I'm a big practicer of self care, so that won't be an issue. But just so you know, kids, that yeah, every now and then, yeah, you can feel overwhelmed. Yep, like butter scraped over too much bread. Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yeah, and oh yeah, Kitlin Dam, if they want to doubt your competence, that's their problem. Don't let them make you doubt it. I do not doubt my competence. Looks- I
Hmm.
know I'm good at what I do. Right? It's if I say I can do it, it's because I can, and if I don't think I can, then I say I'm not sure I can, or I might need help with this. But when it's something that's in my wheelhouse, right? I mean, I graduated in communication, so if you're asking me to do something communications wise, just leave it with me. It will be done. It will be done quality. right? Just, or at least give me time to give you a first draft to respond to. But it's been, yeah, it's been, why are you doing that? Why are you not doing this? Why are you doing that? It's just, why is that not out now? Why isn't that not finished? It's like, and all the time that I have to spend explaining to people, I'm working on 5 different projects at once. I don't have time for
Hmm.
just your thing,
That's it,
right?
right?
So it's like, if you just let me do it and stop asking me where things are at, why this isn't done, why like this, you will get it much faster. But all the time you are taking out of my time, making me respond to you and making me um, assuage your feelings and your nervousness is time I'm not doing your work. Just
Yeah.
let me do your work. I can't do your work and manage your feelings or manage your anxiety. Just let me do the work.
Hmm.
It will be done faster, and then you won't be anxious. And I can't get people to, I can't seem to get people to understand that every time they come in to me with anxiety, that it delays me getting the thing they're anxious about done. It's like,
Yeah. So it just gets worse.
yeah, as Kit James says, I hate fielding questions for people who don't understand that what they're asking is both rhetorical and stupid. That's the ballpark. It's
Yeah.
not exactly that, because they're not stupid things, but I've got it. I'm aware.
Hmm.
I'll handle it. Don't worry.
You know, I used to say there are no stupid questions, only stupid people, and that was a joke because I didn't believe there were stupid questions. Then I went on Yahoo Answers for a couple hours and went away with, "Yep, there's a lot of stupid questions. Good Lord, there's a lot of stupid questions." And also, some of the questions I've read on Yahoo Answers, the response to the question was, first off, how old are you? 27. And you don't know this? You don't know this? You need to talk to somebody or read a book because holy crap, how have you lived for 27 years and not know? Like some of the questions were just, oh boy.
Mm.
And you know, sometimes you think, well, you know, some people just haven't had an opportunity to learn, but you know, bodily functions, basic bodily functions.
Ooh,
I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty
okay.
of it, but it was like,
Yeah. All lots of love from the kids. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. As you see, like I'm laughing, right? It's
mhm.
not terrible. It was just everything just all happened at once and was like, that's it. I'm out. See how you do without me. Moment.
When I get a silliness thing like that, my response, you know, somebody says something completely ridiculous. I just look at them and go, well, about 4:30, but I don't know if I can make it to the party, which is an Eddie Murphy line from the movie The Golden Child, where the guy speaks to him in Thai or Stai, Nepalese. Sorry, he speaks to him in Nepalese, and he looks at Eddie and he goes on for about 2 minutes, and Eddie just goes, "Well, I don't know about 4:30, but I don't know if I can make it to the party," because it's like I don't understand anything you just said, so this is my category response. So I use it all the time, and people look at me like I have 2 heads. I'm like, if you're old enough, you'll know,
Ah,
and if you don't, you got to learn.
oh man, oh man. So I thank you for the love, kids. I will be all right. That's the part. I know the difference between a bit of depression because after my mom passed away, I was in
Hmm.
a situation of not biochemical depression but situational depression. There's a bit of a
Hmm.
difference
There's,
because
yeah,
drugs
yeah,
won't help with the other one,
no,
right?
that's that
That's
that takes a time for it to slowly scab
yeah,
over because the scar is permanent.
exactly. There's certain things. It's like that "Going on a Bear Hunt" song. Can't go
Mm,
over it,
sure.
can't go under it, can't go around it. I guess I just gotta go through it. So you put your head down and you just try to go through it as fast and as painlessly as possible and get to the other end. So I'm going through a gotta go through it moment. uh, but these things usually tend to resolve themselves. And you know, it's the week before Christmas and a lot of people get antsy and nervous or are facing the prospect of Christmas alone. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on for a lot of people. And, you know, like I said last week, everything inanimate was attacking me for some reason. it it's just been a weird week. Somebody told me that Mercury's in retrograde. Maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? But it's been a weird past couple of weeks. So I'm just trying to get through the weirdness and manage the weirdness. Yep. Oh, thank you, Kit. My dogs are goth. I like that analogy and actually needed to hear that bear hunt advice today. Well, there you go. There you go. See, I'm glad we talk about it and it helps and it might help someone. We have lots of
I
new
like turtles.
names on the chat here. We
Mhm.
have a Kit
Freddie, I'm not reading your surname.
Yes.
I'm not reading your surname, dude.
Freddie F. Well that came on here. And Kit James is here with us. Kit Donna, lovely to see you. Thank you for the hugs. Thank you so much. Kit Darlene, which I believe is a new one for us. So welcome to the Beaver Lodge. Yeah, it's nice to see you. I am going to start, since we're talking about people who are not doing well. I saw this the other day, and I know we sometimes laugh at her because she is silly, and the things that come out of her mouth are silly. But there's a conservative MP who is the shadow minister. Well, not shadow minister, because again, there's no such thing. Shadow minister is not a thing in Canada.
A bullshit title.
But families, children, and social development, which is kind of ironic if you are anywhere familiar with her Twitter feed. She probably should not be the shadow minister of that specifically. But
she shouldn't be the shadow minister of anything. Again, shadow minister is not a thing. But this person needs help.
Yeah, and I want to play it because, and it's not to make fun. That's not.
It's to point out that there's a problem.
There is a problem here, Mr. Grizzly.
Yep, just give me a sec here. I'll load it up, and here we go.
Hashtag be nice. Hashtag if you don't wanna unfollow the page. Fun fact about my Facebook page, nobody's forcing you to watch it. That just blows my mind. Nobody is telling you to listen to me, so don't. Isn't my new camera so pretty? I love it. Let's talk about that. Hashtag be...
I know that feeling. I know that feeling. All right. This is not the first such incident.
No, she had one the other day that went on a bizarre rant about how the Conservative Party, people think we're evil. Oh, self-actualization.
So there's something I call having mastery of self.
Mm-hmm.
She has lost it. And it's not the first time. Now, it is true, absolutely true, that people get a lot of pile-on social media. Right? That was one of my hesitancies in putting my voice to my words, because this started just as a written blog with no picture of me and then going on YouTube, because I know I'm inviting that in. Right? And some days it can be it can be a bit much.
Mm-hmm. That's when you unplug.
So even if you are, I'm not going to say hateful person like she is, although some days I think that is the case. But the type of ideologically aligned like she is, I'm trying to pick diplomatic words here. People think you're evil, that there's a PR campaign to paint conservatives as evil. You guys are your own PR campaign.
You're doing it to yourselves.
There's this concept from the conservative circles that everything that is not flattering of them is biased against them. It's like, we get the media is terrible. They're giving us biased coverage. If you're doing terrible things, media will report that you are doing terrible things. If you want better press coverage, do better things. That one's on you. If you don't want people to consider that you're evil, don't vote against a national school food program for kids. Don't make your whole existence on destroying childcare and dental care and doing nothing to
Hmm.
fight climate change and pulling the rug under Ukraine, a country with whom we have a deep connection for well over 100 years.
Yes.
It's at some point you get what you give. One of the reasons we love doing this is because we try to put a lot of love and positivity into it, and we get a lot of love and positivity from you back, and that fuels us. You get what you give.
Hmm.
She starts with be nice. We would love to lead by example.
Please, please show us what it's like to be nice. Stop being so mean and horrible.
So these are
And
people.
I've got the
These are
clip here.
people that show contempt 24/7 for
Hmm.
2/3 of the Canadian population every
And the
second
problem is,
of the day.
and they don't even realize it, or they do, but they don't care. I don't know. I don't think they're
But they
self-aware. Oh, did we lose you?
there's people are not gonna just lay back and take it,
No,
right? So,
absolutely not.
she is not doing well at the moment. She's honestly not doing well. 'Cause I am honestly and sincerely concerned
Hmm.
because
Well, I think her mental health is beginning to suffer. But again, like I said, self-actualization. Here's the clip. Have you
yes, I've
seen
seen
this
this
one?
one.
We'll play this. It's only 12
And I
seconds.
think there's a PR crisis, honestly. I think there's a huge PR crisis right now of people thinking that conservatives are some kinds, like they're these horrible people. And I think there's
Again, now go back to your Twitter feed and look at everything
Hmm.
that you say about us.
Yeah,
You treat us
yeah.
like we're
It's just,
evil,
you know
like
what
we're
they are.
subhuman. You talk about us in terms that are dehumanizing. What did you
It comes from the classic
expect?
school of dish it out, but can't take it.
Well, yes, but what do you expect to get in return when your policy is talking about litards and libtards?
Hmm.
And I hate anything that includes tards. Those
Hmm.
words should come out of nobody's mouth ever. When you get wildfires and your line is that liberals are setting the fires on purpose so that they could pass their climate change. What do you expect to get in return? When you got a whole bunch of people come into town and take about 100,000 people hostage and use proven torture techniques on them. And then everybody says, you know what? You supported that. When there was Nazi insignia there. And yes, it wasn't everybody. It was mostly not everyone. But you didn't know better than to leave when they showed up. And you didn't
Hmm.
really denounce it. When you have brunch with Christine Anderson and you sent a statement through Brian Lilly that allegedly you denounce it, but not on letterhead and no video with you saying it out of your own mouth. What do you expect the majority that is radically reasonable to say about you? You get what you give. And if it's overwhelming at one point, maybe it's not up to us to make it easier for you to hate us or to make it more comfortable for you to hate us. Maybe it's for you to just stop hating us. Actually talk about us like we are humans and not some
Hmm.
malign force that needs to be defeated or crushed or put in its place. If the party cares about her, they will see these videos. They'll say, you need a break. And they will get her to the help that she needs. And you've got Sarah Fisher, the communications person, tweeting about 2 or 3 times now over the course of this weekend is that if you're in government to tell people what to do, then you need to change fields. It's just like she did this on November 17th as well, 2 days after Skippy posted a tweet said, Justin, do what I told you. It's like the zero self-awareness variety hour here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one party out of all the party that lives more to tell us all what to do than the Conservative Party of Canada? You have the freedom to live as we tell you to. That's the freedom they're offering us.
Yes.
And then they turn around and say,
Canada,
if
the
you're in
freest country in the world.
Yeah. And then you're saying, if you want to be in government in order to tell people what to do, you need to be in another line of business. Well, Sarah Fisher, if you truly believe that, you would be resigning your job right now. Because your leader just held a 30-hour telethon, held the business of the entire nation hostage for 30 hours because he wanted the federal government to do what he is telling them to, axe the tax. And he threatened to do it last summer because he wanted the federal government to impose his budget instead of their own. All you guys do is tell people what to do. If you truly believe that, if you're in government to tell people what to do, that you should be in another line of business, quit your job. Again, lead by example. Because the guy you're working for, that's all he does. Is tell people what to do. That's why he wants the job.
Well, we've said it before, and I'll say it again. They do not want to govern.
Just tell people what to do.
They want to rule.
That's why he wants.
Sorry, I had a thing there in the background. I apologize. They don't want to govern. They want to rule. And you know, every time Skippy says, "I'll make Canada the freest country in the world," yeah, we're actually in third place. There's a 3-way tie for first with a rating of 100. It's Norway, Sweden, Finland, the top 3 freest countries on earth with a rating of 100. New Zealand is in second at 99, and Canada is at 98 in third place, which means if he's going to make us freer by the metrics that are used to measure freedom, the freedom scale, we're going to adopt some programs like they have in Finland, Sweden, and Norway, where we will end homelessness by putting people in homes. I mean, they're the freest nation on earth. This is what they do. They've ended homelessness in Finland. They've also been very progressive about the school curriculum. Children do not do homework in Finland anymore because they've discovered it's too much stress and too much pressure on children. So they said, let's just try this for a year and see what happens. And guess what? Scores went up right across the board. Children's lives became better. And they stopped training people on how to learn to work for free when they get older. Because when you take work home from the office, you're not being paid to do it. Unless you're like me and I bill by the hour. So, you know, they don't want me working from home on the weekend because it costs them more money. They have to pay me overtime.
Wow, there's a lot of new kits that are Kit JFLA joined, Kit CS joined. Wow, I don't know.
13?
13. I don't know what happened, but welcome all to the Beaver Watch.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. How much time do we have, Mr. Grizzly?
Lots of time. I'm working from home today, but I do have to get my laptop and some phones so I can get logged in. So just bear with me for a moment while I step away,
Okay.
take care of some business, and I'll be right
All right,
back.
absolutely. All right, Kits and Cubs. We are going to get into the thing I wanted to do Friday about the Prime Minister's address to his caucus for Christmas, because it was really, really, really a thing of beauty, and there's a lot of stuff going on there that you should see, and that is very good. But let's see what we have. I'm going to do a little bit more of Canadians who make us proud while we're waiting for Mr. Grizzly. And we're going to talk about some real winter sports. I'm kidding right now. In the winter sport called fencing, a Canadian athlete named Angel Zhao, Ruin, but goes by Angel Zhao, won bronze in a women's individual épée event in Vancouver, and she's just 16 years old. But she's already the top-ranked Canadian in the discipline and number 17 in the world. This is her first Senior World Cup medal. Her success was ushered in by a bronze medal she won at the Pan Am Games. And then we have someone else named Jessica Guo, who took a bronze medal in the women's foil event in an event in Serbia. And she came close to another medal as the Canadian women's foil team had finished fourth in the team event, having been defeated 44-31 by Japan in the bronze medal match. In weightlifting, another winter sport, Maud Charon, who did us very proud at the Olympics, I think by winning gold last time, took a bronze medal at the IWF Grand Prix 2 event in Doha, Qatar, which is a key event that counts towards Olympic qualification. She went 6 for 6 on all her lift attempts, totaling 233 kilograms. She also won bronze medals for her lifts in the snatch and the clean and jerk, because in weightlifting you get a medal for the, I'm not sure if it's that way at the Olympics, but at least in the at the IWF events, you get one for the total, both of them together, and for the individuals. She is so her lift in the snatch was 104, and the clean and jerk was 129 kilograms. So this is the most she has lifted since she dropped down to a new weight class of 59 kilograms. She had lifted to 226 to win silver at the Santiago Pan Am Games. So it's 7 kilograms more about a month and a half later. Which is good. She had been nursing a knee injury, which kept her from competing at the World Championships last September. But she's now saying that this is the best she's felt in some time, and she's learned how to better prepare her body for competition at a lower weight. And then our judokas, another winter sport, have been doing very well as well. At the IGF Grand Slam in Tokyo, Japan, Canada's Krista Deguchi and Jessica Klimkate shared the podium in their event. So Deguchi captured the gold medal in the 57 kilogram category, while Klimkate finished with the bronze. And both of them are ranked first and second in the world in rankings for their weight class. So that's kind of interesting. And according to the Canadian Olympic Committee, winning in Japan was extra special for Deguchi because she was actually born in Japan. And this is her 8th career Grand Slam victory. So there you go. A little bit of news of Canadians who are doing us proud. And I see that we have Mr. Grizzly back with us.
Well, in spirit, our body and mind, maybe not spirit. I don't know. Something like that. I'm sort of here. I'm missing my glitter light. I have a little light usually here to just light from me from below, and it's because it's packed in the road case for the PubCast, because we use a lot of lights for the PubCast because it's a bar and needs to be well lit. So yeah, I haven't put any of that stuff away yet. I've been too busy. Too busy trying to catch up on rest, actually.
All right. Now I'm going to try and see if I can find this quickly. But as I was mentioning you, Kits, the Prime Minister delivered an address to his party before the House. There we go. I was able to find it really easy. Sorry for the noise. Was delivered an address to the party before they go for Christmas. All the party leaders do that. They get all their caucus together, and they sort of go back over the year and talk about how things went and sort of what the plans for the future are. And I wanted to play this because, well, one, it's really good, and two, you get the sense that there's maybe a little bit of 2015 coming back, which would be quite refreshing and really needed, because things have been a little heavy over the past little bit. Now,
to say the least.
Right? I mean, it's been a lot. Now, the House has risen, but the Senate hasn't yet. The Senate is still dealing with a few things, um, and we don't know if they're going to pass extra things through or hold some stuff up. But the contentious gun control bill has passed the House finally. That's the bill that was doing very well, but then the Liberals themselves screwed up by trying to introduce additional amendments, thus pissing off even the NDP.
Great.
But it seems that that has now gone through. There are still some bills that are in limbo until the new year. However, Bill C-59, the Fall Economic Statement Implementation Act of 2023, Bill C-35, the Canada Early Learning and Childcare Act, that's the one where they're trying to enshrine the program into law to make it harder for the Conservatives to take apart should they win government. Bill C-50, the Canada Sustainable Jobs Act, Bill C-57, the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement Implementation Act of 2023, and the much discussed farm-focused private members bill has been left to languish too. It seems that also where the controversy with the speaker, Greg Fergus, that basically everybody's been trying to get him to resign because he dared record a video of support to a provincial Liberal, Ontario interim leader John Fraser, after Bonnie Crombie won, and he did it from his office wearing his robes. And Andrew Scheer has been leading the charge on that. And
But he's guilty of the same crime.
Well, he had already been found guilty of the same crime, actually, by the ethics, and had been charged a $500 fine. So Greg Fergus got charged a $500 fine as well. And all throughout this thing, it's like, come on. Yes, okay. Probably should have done it, but clearly it's not a firing or resignation offense. But they really wanted him to resign. Don't know what the difference between Greg Fergus and Andrew Scheer is.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say complexion.
Yeah, I would say so. And then there's been more video that's emerged since of Andrew Scheer doing so right from the speaker's chair. And we might have that for you at some point as well, because I already had Mr. Grizzly load up one video, so I'm not going to get him to switch to another one right now. The level of hypocrisy, right? And this is not the first time Andrew Scheer seems to have had a problem, because when Michaëlle Jean, who was the Governor General, it was known that she had dual citizenship. He had a problem with that. But then he became leader of the party. And then all of a sudden, whoops, who did we find out?
Well, you never asked me about it.
Who did we find out was a dual citizen?
Why would we ask you about it?
It's so.
Why would we assume? You know,
he seems to have a problem.
Oh, stop it!
With people,
my computer's just doing crazy stuff,
who have black faces when they do the exact same thing he's done. When they do the exact same thing he's done, he wants some type of special treatment for them, special exclusionary treatment that should not apply to him somehow. I have a problem with that. I have a big, big, big problem with that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, his racism is showing.
A little bit. Just a little bit. All right. It seems...
Oops, the mask has slipped.
Yes. Your slip is showing, sir. All right.
So am I starting this at
I guess so, because again, in this age of everything going wrong, it seems that all the timestamps that I lovingly collected for the show last Friday have mysteriously vanished from my computer.
Okay, well,
so let's just play it.
I'll start it at the 6-minute mark, and we'll see from there.
Well, no, don't just.
I'm going to throw it in the
Don't
minute.
just start it right in the middle.
Pardon?
Just start
In
at
the
the
middle?
beginning.
Oh, started from the
Oh, yeah,
beginning.
started from the beginning.
Okay, hang on. Just a second here. I gotta cue it up. My computer is squawking at me, and I'm getting very angry with it. It's like, we're setting up an iPhone. Your iPhone is set up. Hey, congratulations. I know. Stop telling me. I did it. I don't need notifications. How do I eliminate all those stupid notifications? It's like, don't notify me of something I just did. I know I did it. It's annoying. Okay.
All right,
We'll
Mr.
start this
Grizzly.
from the beginning.
Let's see what we got.
And let's see what happens here. I might have the timestamps, though. If you give me a second here till I check on something, because you sent them to me last week. I might have them.
Oh, maybe I did. I sent them to you. That's true.
Yeah,
You're
let me
right. I
see if
sent
can
them to
find
you. They're in
here.
my
It's-
sent
it's-
emails.
Yeah,
I'll be able to find them, actually. I'll be able to find them.
You can? Okay, yeah. You'd have to look for it because I've got a lot of
Yeah,
email
I forgot. That's why they're
sort
not in my
through here.
drafts folder, because I sent them to you. There we go. I've got them.
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
So start
Send that
at
to me
a
and-
minute 2.
1 minute and 2 seconds. Okay, that makes life easier. Let me just
All right.
get it right over there.
My phone is alarm's going off, so I'm just going to go and turn it off, and I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, no problem. We'll show this video and let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can make it. We're doing it by the seat of our pants. That happens.
And while we're on applause, how about a massive round of applause for someone who gave her farewell speech in the House tonight, Carolyn Bennett. Where is Carolyn? Can her table please put up her hands? Here we go. There you are. Okay. There they are, right over there. Carolyn, like I said in the House today, I have benefited from your advice, your leadership, your support, and your friendship for the 15 years since I first got elected. And I have to say, something that we would all want to be able to say or have said of ourselves after we leave this place. Canada is a so much better place because you served for 26 years in the House of Commons. Merci, ma chère amie. We'd be here all night if I listed everything she's done. But my friends, it's because of all your work that we can continue to deliver for Canadians. Your work is more important than ever in this period where we're all experiencing a lot of change. Change in interest rates, change in the world order, change in the environment, change in the way we work, change in culture. All this change can be disorienting. But this is why the choices we make right now are so consequential. Because the world is going through change. And we need to make sure that this change benefits Canadians. Because in this pivotal moment, all politicians have to ask themselves, are we going to tackle the problems people are facing? Or are we going to exploit them? Are we going to solve the problems making Canadians more anxious? Or make people more anxious for our own advantage? Well, we, as Liberals, with hope and hard work, we need to take the challenges of change and make them opportunities for everyone.
All right.
Wow.
So
That's pretty moving.
yeah, that's the opening. So, of course, Carolyn Bennett, who has served for 26 years in Parliament, she's a doctor. She gave up her practice.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, she's a doctor. 26 years she served in Parliament in various capacities, we have some comments here. First Nations, Métis and Indian, Indigenous, well, my God, I'm having trouble today. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit folks might not agree, because when the Department of Indian Affairs or the Minister of Indian Affairs was split into two to crown Indigenous relations and Indigenous service, she had one of the portfolios. And she had relative degrees of efficiency there. But of course, it's also setting up a new ministry. So, but when the last portfolio she had was addictions, mental health and addictions. And as a doctor, she was very, very, very good there. And we were trying to get her on the show a couple of times. She had actually agreed through Twitter, but for some reason I could not get her assistant to actually book it for some reason. We got roadblocked there, but she had agreed. She had agreed. So that's not on her. But a 26-year career in Parliament is really, really big. Of course, Don Martin tried to cast some aspersions saying, gee, odd timing for that. Really? Odd timing? A couple of days before Parliament is going to raise for the session, right before the end of the calendar year, 1 week before her 73rd birthday.
How's that? No, that's perfect timing, not odd timing. It's the end of the calendar year. The House is no longer in session. It's just before her birthday. It's just before Christmas.
2 years before an election, so that there's time to... And she's 73.
Yeah, I
served
think,
26 years. She's given that the office, dude.
Yeah, she's 73. I think, she wants to retire. Let her retire.
And this is what I'm saying when I said at the beginning of the show. If that's what you keep on giving, don't be surprised what you get. Just let her retire. It's perfect timing. But then he opens. And look at the note on which he opens. Are we going to exploit people's fear and anxiety for these challenges? Or are we actually going to try and address them? And if you look at what Housing Minister Sean Fraser is doing, it seems that the party has opted for addressing them head on. Hence, we get all these cries of, no, not like that. Because, well, they're being a little too efficient at it. And, well, that doesn't help the Conservatives with their narrative now, does it? Right? So I saw somebody, Kit, in the chat saying, and you got to thank Karina Gould or something. Kit Cassie, they need to give Karina Gould an ovation for scolding PP like a mom for his behavior. Well, Mr. Grizzly, if you go to timestamp 453, Kit Cassie, it seems that you and the Prime Minister are somewhat of the same mind.
453.
453. And we'll go to just under 8 minutes there.
Okay, here we go. Bear with me for a second while I bring this up.
When we saw that moms had to choose between their kids and their careers because families didn't have access to affordable childcare, especially during the pandemic, and after 50 years of previous governments saying it just could never be done, our government created a Canada-wide $10 a day childcare system. And because of this work, women's participation in the workforce is now at a record high. And remember, the economy is not numbers, it's people. People like Susanna in Mississauga, saving hundreds of dollars a month on childcare, which gave her the freedom to choose to go back to work. You have all heard thousands upon thousands of stories just like this across the country, because childcare is not just social policy, it's economic policy. Et donc, avant d'aller plus loin, je veux prendre un moment pour reconnaître le travail de Karina Gould avant qu'elle nous quitte pour son congé de maternité. Where are you, Karina? There she is. Karina, you helped negotiate $10 a day child care agreements with the provinces. You are the youngest woman ever to serve as cabinet minister and the first minister ever to give birth while holding office. And while we're applauding, in a few weeks, you'll also become the second minister ever to give birth while in office. But you know how important for young families. Your husband Alberto, your son Oliver, and your imminent daughter are all lucky to have you. And we're lucky to have you as a team and as a country. So let's give Karina and the whole team who works with her so hard every day in the House Leader's office a huge round of applause. Enjoy the maternity leave. We'll miss you, but can't wait to see you back. Et pendant que nous, on s'occupe à tourner les défis en opportunités, Pierre Poilievre, lui, exploite les défis pour essayer de les tourner en opportunités pour lui-même.
All right. So prior to saying that, the Prime Minister also mentioned in French taking on the challenges of climate change by, for example, pursuing the EV battery plants, of which there are, the announcements came fast and furious, but there's one in St. Thomas, there's one in Windsor, there's one in Bécancour, there's one just outside Quebec City, there's about 5, and there's one here in the Kingston area. There's 5.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's not one anywhere else in North America yet. These are things, these are policies that are going to be transformative. Remember, we talked a while ago in Bloomberg how there was an article about this prime minister has done more to diversify the economy than any others.
It's true.
So while the Conservatives are trying to get us to reverse ourselves on carbon regulatory pricing, on emissions caps for the oil sector, he's pursuing the economic activities and opportunities that come from them. And it turns out that there's a more recent report that says that we are now getting on target to reaching not only our 2030 goals, but some of our interim goals. If all these policies that he's pursuing are actually put in place, we will be there. The Conservatives absolutely do not want this. That's why they're screaming so loud. Because he's being too effective. Right? Now, he talks a little bit in French, of course, while he was saying there, and while we're busy turning these challenges into opportunities, Pierre Poilievre exploits these challenges to convert them to opportunities for himself. Okay, so that's what he's been saying in French there. We'll continue on to 9:55, Mr. Grizzly.
From the 8-minute mark?
From where you stopped.
Yeah, okay, just a second. Here we go. I'll just bring it back up. Sorry. Got lots of stuff on my screens here that I'm trying to sort with.
See, people ask me, why do I want to run in the next election? It's because I'm fighting for the middle class. I'm fighting for reconciliation. I'm fighting for climate change. I'm fighting to build an economy that works for all Canadians. I'm running because now is not the time to stop fighting for progress. But the more interesting question to me is, why does Polyev want this job? To import far-right populist politics to Canada? To call people's homes shacks and use homeless people as props? To ramp up bullying on 2SL LGBTQI plus kids as a wedge for politics? To cut the programs Canadians rely on, like dental care and child care? To be honest, I don't think he knows the answer to that question, and that's what makes him so reckless. Le monde traverse une période difficile maintenant, avec des imprévus.
So, again, he's calling out the game. And as a PR person, this is what I'm saying. This is the most effective thing that the Prime Minister could do and that the Cabinet can do, is to call out the game. This is what they're doing. This is why. And this is how we're going to counter it. Now, a lot of kids may not know, but the Prime Minister and the Liberal Party got themselves a new communications person or company.
Showing.
Yeah, I think it's called Veliket. Is the name of the company, and I guess the lead consultant. We referenced it very, very briefly in our interview in our conversation with Laura here, but going to the liberal rag, the National Post here. Max Veliket has spent decades in the marketing sector and comes armed with expertise in understanding millennials and Generation Z. Amid slumping poll numbers, amid slumping polls, Trudeau has appointed a new executive communications director with expertise in understanding millennials and Generation Z. A recent Abacus data survey revealed that millennials are now almost twice as likely to support conservatives over liberals, while 32% of Generation Z currently favors conservatives compared to 24% for liberals. Max Veliket will likely be tasked with trying to reverse those trends. Veliket founded Youthography, a Toronto-based youth market research company, and also worked with Benson & Byrne, a Toronto-based advertising agency. One of Canada's largest independent advertising agencies, Benson & Byrne, has counted both the Liberal Party of Canada and Liberal Party of Ontario as clients. In a career spanning 2 decades, Veliket has also worked with brands like Nike, Budweiser, and Coca-Cola, and earned accolades for his anti-smoking campaign, Stupid.ca. The University of Ottawa educated Veliket was named one of Marketing Magazine's 100 most influential people in Canadian communications back in 2005. So he has a very, very, very good track record. He says, I write and consult, run focus groups and workshops, conduct and analyze research, and create brand plans. I've worked with big brands and tiny companies, governments, and not-for-profits. I focus on modern consumers, the youth market, and new media. So the Liberals have heard the message.
So it would seem.
Have understood that they need to stop tripping over the flowers in the carpet, and have gone and got themselves the help that they needed. So you might going, like as Kitsasi says, Trudeau knows how to use spicy at the right time. Attack the issues, not the people directly, says Kit Hugh. Exactly. This is what is going on. This is what's going on. So you're going to see some changes in the communication style and in the messaging from the party over the next few years. And it was needed. It was needed because their communications were very tired and not responsive to what was going on. He goes on to say in French for a little while here during this address, why are my windows not working with me here? That the world is going through a challenging time. It's like we hit black ice, and Pierre Poilievre's solution is to sell us a car without winter tires. We must remain true to our values to get through consequential moments. And then we get to 10:25, Mr. Grizzly, and we'll go to about 13:23, where he talks about we have to be able to answer tough questions.
And you know, if you want to be Prime Minister, you have to be able to answer tough questions. Families are worried about the cost of housing, and he sends a link to a 15-minute video riddled with inaccuracies. Canadians are worried about the rise of hatred and polarization, and he chomps on an apple. There's an accident near our border, and because he gets his news from Fox, he calls it terrorism. Poilievre calls his approach common sense. It's absolute nonsense.
Remember that line.
The latest example is that these MAGA conservatives voted against military aid for the people of Ukraine and against the free trade deal President Zelensky is asking us for. En ce moment même, la Russie continue son invasion injustifiable de l'Ukraine. Quand le président Zelensky...
All right. So he talks about Pierre Poilievre chomping on an apple. And if you've been watching YouTube, not YouTube, sorry, Twitter for a little bit, I'll put it up myself here, Mr.
I have it.
For
here.
the
Just give me a
kids.
second.
Here.
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Got it.
Okay. There's something that this is not from recent, but it was just put up recently. There's
Mr. Trudeau, I saw that you posted about the importance of independent media and of media. Yeah, you kicked Alexa Lavoie out of your conference the other day. You kicked her out. You.
Okay, we could stop.
Eating an apple.
What's he eating right there?
An apple. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Troll level master 1000. Right there.
That's Chris Dacey, who's needs to get a life and a job. He camps out on Wellington Street all day, every day, and just waits for stuff like this.
Yeah, with someone
Tries to make
else.
himself
So,
look like a hero.
and that whole there's about like 8-9 minutes of him yelling, him and someone else named Christine yelling at him, and then he posts here's the full video with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau getting heckled while walking down, and RCMP officer Eric Dubois assaulting Christine Cameron and threatening to arrest me. Okay, here's the thing. Because if it's just you and Christine yelling and you're filming yourselves doing it, that's not a video of the Prime Minister being heckled. That's a video of you heckling the Prime Minister to create content for yourself. If you were on the street and people were heckling him and you caught that on video, that would be the Prime Minister being heckled. But if you are yourselves are doing the heckling and then recording it while you're doing it, that's not full video of the Prime Minister being heckled. Right? Let's just make that very, very, very clear.
Yeah.
Now, back to the address. We'll continue where we left off at 1324. And the Prime Minister talks a little bit about Israel in this, the conflict that's going on here. And as you may know, there was a UN resolution that was passed. I think it was Australia, New Zealand, and Canada co-sponsored, that talked about an immediate humanitarian ceasefire with a certain conditions, that hostages be released and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people are saying, there, he called with a ceasefire like this, and how dare you put conditions and whatnot, or it's not a real ceasefire, you got conditions. He's trying to move the ball forward.
Well, let's watch this clip.
Évidemment, il n'y a pas juste l'Europe qui est aux prises avec un conflit déchirant. What's happening in the Middle East is reverberating around the world, across Canada, and within our Liberal Party. I've spoken with many of you personally, and I know how extremely difficult it has been. Some of you are directly impacted, or have loved ones who are. It's been tough. And we're having hard but necessary conversations together. One of the reasons we're having these conversations within our party is because we are the most diverse political party in this country. And that's a good thing. If we can't have those difficult conversations amongst ourselves, how can we expect Canadians to have them? Au Canada, on réussit la diversité mieux que partout ailleurs. Nommez-moi un seul pays à travers le monde où les gens sont aussi libres de prier, d'aimer et de s'exprimer dans toute leur diversité. Mais on n'est pas arrivé là par accident. On ne va pas continuer sans effort. And while we're all having those conversations among ourselves, let's remember that Canada is the only country in the world to have both a special envoy on combating anti-Semitism and a special representative on combating Islamophobia. Deborah's work and Amira's work go hand in hand. Inclusion takes effort, and we need to keep working at it even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Canada is a place where we celebrate our diversity. On est un pays de voisins, de collègues, d'amis, de familles qui vivent cette diversité à chaque jour. Canada is a place where an Inuk born in Nunavik is now Governor General. C'est un pays dans lequel on peut répondre aux questions au Parlement dans les 2 langues officielles, comme Pascal Saint-Onge l'a si bien rappelé aux conservateurs. Canada is a place where both Muslim and Jewish communities prepared food for people who had been evacuated during wildfires this summer. These are all Canadian stories, and now more than ever, let's remember who we are.
So there, the sections in French for the kits who don't speak French says, evidently, it's not just Europe that has been stricken by conflict that tears people apart. Nobody does diversity better. Name one other country in the world where people are as free to pray, love, and express themselves in all their diversity. But we didn't get there by accident, and moving forward will not be effortless. We are a nation of families, colleagues, friends, and neighbors where we live in diversity. We are a nation in which we can answer questions in Parliament in both official languages, as Minister Pascal Saint-Onge recently reminded Conservatives. The part about Israel here is that he admits that there are tensions within his own party. Anthony Housefather, for example, had a problem with us sponsoring that resolution at the UN that Bob Ray spoke for. But he talks about it like he's the adult in the room.
No sloganeering.
No sloganeering.
No stupid sentences. No. He's not trying to rile people up and say, "Come on, let's."
He's not.
He's speaking like an adult.
He's not.
To adults.
He realizes that he's the Prime Minister of all Canadians, Jewish and Muslim. We have an envoy for both, or a special rapporteur or a watchdog for both. And that, yes, this is going to bring up difficult conversations, but difficult conversations we must have. As opposed to the leader of the opposition, who's been wrapping himself in Israel's flag, once every 40 days or something, says something about Islamophobia. This locks all MPs in the House so that none of them can celebrate the first day of Hanukkah. The Jewish MPs so that none of them can be with their communities, their family, their children on the first day of Hanukkah. While he goes to a synagogue that has been firebombed for the first day of Hanukkah to get images for himself and to cover for the fact that he's going for a fundraiser later. And while he's there, votes against funding for a Jewish community center in Vancouver and funding for a Holocaust museum.
Yeah. Like
Because while
the audacity.
he and all his team are all over the web talking about almost strictly, exclusively anti-Jewish hate, which is a thing and needs to be addressed. Right? We've all seen the clips this weekend of protests going on at shopping malls where kids are going to see Santa Claus. Probably not the best way to win allies and friends.
Well,
I mean, it's effective. You're getting the publicity. Your message is getting out, but are you making anybody sympathetic to your cause? Not sure.
No.
And vice versa, if you're on the pro-Israel side, if you're seeing someone if you're calling everyone an anti-Semite because they're not 100% full in your camp, again, not sure how that is winning you friends and allies. So we have the opposition party trying to paint Canada as an inherently anti-Semitic country and our government as inherently anti-Semitic. And meanwhile, you have the government recognizing that you need to be the government for both people that support the people of Israel and the people that support the people of Palestine. You need to be pro-human. And as we say often on the show, Israelis are not the Netanyahu government and Palestinians are not Hamas.
That's right.
And a lot of these people that are saying, oh my God, I can't believe you supported this resolution, because the resolution did not condemn Hamas, but the resolution also did not express explicit support for Israel. It was for a humanitarian ceasefire, release the hostages and let's get aid in. Pro-human. If every resolution at the UN absolutely has to mention Hamas and criticize them and denounce them, there is one Jewish state, Israel. How many Arab Muslim states are there in the world? You're at the United Nations. You're never going to win that vote.
No.
It's math. No. It's math. If the resolution absolutely has to condemn Hamas for you to support it, it's never going to pass. It's about being an adult in the room and trying to find the common ground. Can we at least agree on protecting the people in both jurisdictions? The people. If we can't even agree on that, you didn't deal with my issue, so I can't support the people. Nothing gets solved. All you are campaigning for is perpetual war and perpetual conflict, and never a state of coexistence, ever. So it's very rare that you will hear a leader of the party talk about how things are messy on a certain subject within their own party and acknowledge it. And he did, in front of his own caucus, in public, while cameras were rolling. That's what you want in a leader.
Indeed.
You don't want some guy who wraps himself in a flag and poses while he votes against aid and support for the people he's posing and claims he supports. You want someone who wants to acknowledge, you know what, this is messy and difficult and hard. But we will talk about it and we will find something. We will find a way. This stuff doesn't get on the news. This stuff doesn't get on the news clips.
And it should.
But that's what's going on behind the scenes. That's the stuff that we should know about if we're politically aware. If you want to make a fully informed decision, when stuff goes sideways in the world, we have one party, at least, that is willing to discuss the situation as an adult. to recognize the messiness of the situation and just deal with it head on. That's statesmanship. That's actual leadership. That's not your hot take for likes and clicks and donations. The world's a messy place.
Yes.
And leaders who deal with it with
complex.
eyes wide open are the ones you need.
Indeed.
Right. Mr. Grizzly, next section.
Sure thing. Whoops. Almost clicked the wrong button there.
And the world wants to be part of what Canada is doing. This year, Canada ranked 3rd for foreign direct investments of all the countries in the world. The world is paying attention. And for next year, both the IMF and the OECD project that Canada will have the strongest growth in the G7. So let's keep fighting for the middle class and for a clean economy that works for everyone. There is now clean drinking water in 96% of First Nations communities, but let's keep fighting until we reach 100%. Let's keep fighting for a child care system that is saving moms and dads not thousands of dollars a month. Let's keep fighting to lift even more kids out of poverty. Let's keep fighting for a plan that will fast-track the construction of hundreds of thousands of additional homes across the country. Let's keep fighting to protect the freedom of people to love whom they love. And let's keep fighting to make sure that every future government of Canada is pro-choice, because women's rights are non-negotiable.
Wow. That's what we need more of.
Uh-huh. Now, imagine that in a political campaign versus what PP has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you've noticed on social media, there seems to be a lot of, I would call it panic tweeting from conservative circles, all the usual suspects. There's a reason for that. That 9-point abacus swing.
Mm-hmm.
People are nervous. The conservatives are nervous. They're talking a good game because remember, as Laura said, the conservative strategy is to make it sound like they are inevitable, that they are such an overwhelming force, that they've got this. They've got this. Right? It's not the case. That's a form of voter suppression. Try to make you feel like you don't have a chance. That's what happened in Ontario with all the media. Just wax enthusiastic about Doug Ford. Got him to another majority. And when we're talking about child poverty, Mr. Grizzly, got a graphic there for you.
You need to blow it up a little bit. It's hard to see.
All right, I will do that. On my screen, it's huge.
Not on this one. There we go.
Canada has the lowest child poverty rate in the G7. Since 2015, we've helped lift over 650,000 kids out of poverty and have halved Canada's poverty rate with programs like the Canada Child Benefit. If you're looking at the graph here, proportional change in child income poverty rate percentage between 2014 and 2021, over 20%.
Wow.
In Canada. Japan is second with about 18%, and then the next closest is the United States with just about 11.
11?
It's over 2 to 1 what's going on in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Italy is reduced a bit, and in Germany, France, and the UK, child poverty has gone up. In the UK, it's gone up by 20%.
Well done on the U.S. for at least, taking the steps to make it better. They've got a ways to go. We've got a ways to go. Who's kidding who? We can do more to help children.
And if you look at Canada and the UK, top and bottom, Canada is a progressive nation. The UK has been led by conservatives.
Look what
Under
happens when
conservative,
that
child
happens.
poverty has gone up 20% between 2014 and 2021. Under a progressive government in Canada, it has gone down about 22% in that same period.
It's very telling.
If you ever needed a graphic that shows you the disparity between a conservative government and a progressive government, you got some people going, liberal Tory, same old story, or PPC champions who call it, keep voting for the uniparty. I love it when PPCs tweet like they're NDPers. The Liberals and the Conservatives are not the same party. The progressive movement and the conservative movement, especially the modern day global IDU conservative movement, it's not the same thing. They are not the same thing. We're not dealing with Tories. Tories are progressive conservatives. We are not dealing with Tories. And as Kit Saucy says here, the thorn here is Singh. How will Singh choose to play? Will he think he can beat Trudeau and try to take votes, or will he choose to work with Trudeau to defeat the cons and putting the NDP in opposition status? Please, 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 Mr. Singh, make the case that the Conservatives do not even deserve to form opposition. How good would Canada be with either a Liberal or NDP government and the other Liberal or NDP opposition, with the Conservatives relegated to the sin bin so that they can feel shame? And maybe they'll learn a lesson, and after a few minutes we can set them free. But they deserve to be in the penalty box. It's not me being pro-liberal party. Objectively, one party is not behaving like adults and is not behaving like it has the best interests of the nation at heart, and it certainly is not behaving like it has your best interest at heart, and speaks ill 24/7 a day about 66% of us. That is not a party that should be anywhere near power or the purse strings. On a purely objective basis, I happen not to agree with their ideology, but it's not about their ideology, it's about their behavior. How you treat people, how you speak about other people, what you support, who you punch down, the rules you're prepared to break in order to get what you want. It's behavior. Not belief, behavior. Believe what you want, but it's what you do and say in furtherance of those beliefs that is the problem.
Indeed.
There's no statesmanship in that party. Objectively so, it makes the decision for me very easy as an engaged citizen as to who I will consider and who I will not even consider for my vote. And I'm not someone who likes to speak in terms of shoulds, but it should be also for you, the Canadian electorate. How a party behaves in its pursuit of power matters. What it says about your neighbors matters. The Prime Minister has not punched down on anyone in this entire address so far. He has said unflattering things about Pierre Poilievre, but they are true. He hasn't stretched, he hasn't embellished. The truth on its own is awful enough. If the truth about you happens to be unflattering, it's not an attack. It's not mean if it's true. It's very, very important to notice that, because we're talking about a party that wants to claim victimhood status. Right? We're dealing with the congregation of Our Lady of the Perpetual Victimhood here. It's very, very important not to get suckered into that game. Has that line from that movie, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? But you are in that chair, Blanche. You are. You may not be evil, but you are standing for evil things. Not wanting to feed children. Not wanting to stop the planet from burning. Wanting to kick people out because they dare to protest in support of Palestinian people. Wanting to kick foreign students out if they happen to go to a food bank because the food banks are ours for the people we won't feed. These are not good positions. There's a reason they lie all the time. Because if they actually ran on what they actually believed, yeesh, they know they can't sell that. That's why they have to sell the other party as evil or mean, or trying to take away your freedoms, trying to censor you, trying to cancel you. Because if they ran on what they actually stood for, honestly, if they had truth in advertising but what they actually stood for and ran just on that, nobody would vote for them. Mr. Grizzly?
Indeed.
The next clip.
1 second, sir.
My friends, take it from me. The more we fight, the more hits we take. No one comes out of a fight unbruised, not even the winners. Fighting is hard work, but it matters so much. That stunt, that useless, time-wasting, 30-hour stunt in Parliament last week proves once again that the Conservatives are just not in it for Canadians, they're in it for themselves. They actually voted to cut funding to build thousands of new homes. They voted against the funding for the Holocaust Museum in Montreal. They voted to cut funding for cybersecurity, for helping people with addictions, for supporting farmers. That 30-hour temper tantrum accomplished nothing. But were we surprised? No, because we're used to them doing nothing. Nothing for the middle class, nothing for families, nothing for Canadians. Mais vous, mes amis, au contraire, merci de toujours vous tenir debout pour défendre nos valeurs. C'est quand on travaille en équipe que tout est possible. Depuis les dernières élections, avec l'aide de nos bénévoles à travers le pays, on a élu 3 nouveaux députés libéraux avec plus de la moitié des votes.
So there he's going in French that, thanks to your hard work, because this is a fight and a fight is hard, because we've elected 3 new Liberal MPs in by-elections with over 50% of the votes in those by-elections. Again, you will notice in that comment, again, the boxer who plays the long game. Again, starting to wonder if there was a little bit of rope-a-dope going on in giving PP so much leeway. The last year. I'm sure it's not all rope-a-dope, because the Liberals did hinder themselves a lot over the last year by making really stupid mistakes. Again, everything the Prime Minister said in that little bit was true. It's verifiable.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back and look at the recorded votes. You can go back and look at clips of the leader of the opposition saying what it is he's claiming to believe in. Because I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. Everything is posing with him. There is not a thing that's authentic about him except for his dickish personality. He's just saying it.
And this is the way he's always been.
Yeah. All right, we go to 22-27, Mr. Grizzly, for the big finish.
1 second here. While I get that together. There we go. And let me just go for... Sorry, I got a bunch of things opening. I'm trying to fix something on my computer. So if I seem a little distracted, it's because I'm trying to get things properly repaired.
De partager notre message sur les réseaux sociaux. Our liberal movement needs you. Canada needs you. So keep listening to Canadians. Keep talking about our positive vision for the future. Continuez de parler de la classe moyenne et de tous ceux qui travaillent fort pour en faire partie. Continuez de parler de démocratie, de liberté, de justice. Keep talking about how we're not only meeting our climate targets, but we're on track to exceed our goals. Keep talking about growing the strong economy from the middle out and the bottom up, like what we're doing in St. Thomas, Bridgewater, Fort Saskatchewan, Maple Ridge, and right across the country. Let's keep reminding people that even though we have a lot of work to do, Canada is not broken. When times got tough throughout our history, when we've faced storms, we've never given up. We've rolled up our sleeves, redoubled our efforts, and turned challenges into opportunities. My friends, another year is ending, but the fight for progress continues. Canada is the very best country in the world. Let's keep working to make it even better. Merci, mes amis. Thank you so much. Joyeuses fêtes! Happy holidays!
Again, kids, if I'm listening to a political campaign and I'm looking what PP's been putting out and I'm listening to this, I know who I want to listen to.
Yeah.
I want to listen to someone who inspires me. I want to listen to someone who gives me hope. I want to listen to somebody who doesn't tell me that everything's gone to shit. I see my kit, my dog, Sugoth. Well, it's a little broken. Well, of course, nothing's perfect. But when somebody says Canada is broken, that means something. We're not. For the most part, things are working well. But we are going through some big challenges. The world is shifting.
Oh, yes.
And there are some global forces that make things tougher. But we emerged from COVID, yes, with some challenges due to supply chains, due to global inflation, due to rising interest rates that have had to compensate for a lot of that. So not everybody is feeling it, but on a macroeconomic level, we have not had the recession everybody said was going to come.
Yeah.
We have not even had 1 quarter of economic growth that's negative. Q2 this year came in at a decline of 0.2, and everybody said, okay, here we go. That's the first one, because the classic definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. Those were the initial numbers. The revised numbers show that we actually grew by 1.4 or 1.2% or something. We haven't even registered one single quarter of negative economic growth as we emerged from COVID with really tough conditions, including the war in Ukraine. And if we remember the previous government that we had when we got through the 2008 crash, they sent us into a second small recession because they cut things too quickly against the advice of all the economists. And the prime minister then was dubbing himself as a trained economist. We've got the guy that the conservatives are laughing at saying, oh, we don't care about monetary policy, which was not what he said. He said it's not the government's job to handle monetary policy, so they don't spend that much time thinking about it because that's in the hands of the Bank of Canada and the Board of Governors there. And we haven't hit a recession going through the worst economic, by far, stress that we've seen in over 100 years. That should tell you something.
You think?
And when the Prime Minister's talking about the emission targets, because I found the article while this was going on, it's from the CBC on December 10th. Emission projections show Canada on track to achieve interim climate target. The numbers also indicate Canada is getting closer to its 2030 climate goal. The latest emissions projection data suggests Canada is on track to achieve its interim climate target and is getting closer to achieving its 2030 climate goal. Environment and Climate Change Canada released new modeling on Thursday showing the country's latest emissions pathway. The projections are contingent on Canada following through with the full suite of policies announced in its 2030 emissions reduction plan and the policies the federal government has announced since. It also includes measures that provincial and territorial governments are undertaking. Now, I like that sentence because remember when everybody was saying that we weren't on track to meet the goals? And they were saying it like we were doomed to fail? Because for some reason they were talking about it as if we had absolutely no free will at all to make any adjustments anywhere along the way. We made adjustments along the way. Surprise! The modeling shows that Canada's climate-altering emissions should decrease by mid-decade, bending the curve towards the interim 2026 climate target. Now, if the term bending the curve means anything to you, remember we had that during the COVID crisis when we were talking about bending the curve on infections? It was the same thing. Prior to this government, we had a government for 10 years that did absolutely nothing. And the government before, Chrétien Martin, even though they talked a good game on the real goals and whatnot, didn't really do all that much, if we're being honest. So the curb...
And we want to be honest.
Yeah. If we're being honest, so the curb of the 23 previous years of government, 13 years of Chrétien Martin, and about 10 years of Harper, where everybody talked a good game, but nothing was done. All of that had to be bent first. All of that had to be bent first. And this prime minister, and under this government, has done that. And Mr. Grizzly, I will show a window here.
Mm-hmm. You're going to need to blow that up a bit too.
Yep. If we see the graph here, the black line was our projections in 2015. Yes, they would keep going up. And that's when they were saying we were doomed. And then we started making changes. The red line is our 2023 projections. By 2026, we will meet that interim objective. Yes, that's where we will cross the line. And from that point on, we will be decreasing if we keep on the path that we are on now and the measures that we're talking about get fully implemented.
This is positive.
And he did this while dealing with Trump, trying to kneecap our economy for 4 years, dealing with a 100-year pandemic, dealing with the worst wildfire season we've ever had, being the elder statesman on the global scene during war with Ukraine, the elder progressive statesman on the scene dealing with the war in Israel. We can walk and chew gum at the same time without sending us into recession. Now, I know
the budget will balance itself.
Yeah. Now, a lot of it doesn't matter to people who still do not have clean drinking water, the 4% of reserves who still don't have it, and for the people who are struggling right now because interest rates went sky high and people who are having trouble finding a home. None of that is going to matter to them because they are living through struggles right now, and their struggles are very real. But for the rest of us who have a minimum of comfort and who can get by, even though things are a little tighter, oh, well, it's time for a change. Change to what? Not meeting those goals? Not having a macroeconomic situation that is poised to help everybody with the microeconomic struggles that they have? When we're talking about the childcare, right, the initial goal was reduction of 50% of costs and eventually getting to $10 a day. There's 5 jurisdictions where they're already at $10 a day.
Yes.
They've gotten ahead.
PEI is below $10 now, I think, isn't it? Or just hit $10 just the other day.
These are real things. A 22% reduction in child poverty.
Well, so to that, the $10 a day daycare, one of our shorts the other day had talked about $10 a day daycare and how it's benefiting, millions of Canadians. And somebody says, who the hell pays for $10 for daycare? And I was like, millions of Canadians, thanks to a program brought about by the federal government. So it turns out it was somebody, a MAGA American. So, it's that person has already made up their mind and won't listen to truth or facts or figures or anything that's even reasonable that you could prove to them how, this is a real thing. But anyway.
Yeah. I see kids and my dogs are goth here. Mortgage is up $650 or so a month. I feel it like a gut punch. Kids, Ozzy, my mortgage is up for renewal in August. I'm nervous. Yes. And there's a lot of people that are going to be feeling that crunch when they renew. My dogs are goth. I'm feeling it. With you too. My when we moved in here 2 years ago, my mortgage was less than $900 a month. Now it's more than $1,400.
That's a big jump. I mean, you can afford it, but still.
I'm feeling it. Yeah. Well, I got stress test at 5% higher.
Right
at the time.
So you can make it work, but you don't want to.
I would rather have that extra $600 a month to go to restaurants, pay for vacation, pay down the mortgage faster.
Actually put it back into the economy instead of just into a banker's pocket.
Absolutely. I would love that. It's not the world we live in.
Yeah.
And we're not unique in this situation. Right? These are global pressures. These are global stressors. But imagine how much worse that would be if we were in a recession on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
If we weren't the country that was attracting the third most foreign investment. If we weren't trying to diversify our economy to bring in electrical battery plants. They're going to be the jobs of the future. If we weren't covering childcare, if we weren't covering dental care. These things matter.
Mm-hmm.
These things matter.
Well,
and here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. I have no kids, so I don't benefit from the childcare personally. I do.
No, but I'm all for it, and I'm never having children.
Yes, I do have dental coverage from my employer. I get no personal benefit from that. Because my mortgage has gone up.
As I asked last week, I wonder if, somebody like me who does have coverage, but I'm wondering if, because my household is well under 90,000. So can those gaps be be filled in with the new program for somebody like me? I don't know.
My guess is that
And I'm
my
curious.
guess is no. But my
Yeah.
guess is now that program exists, whoever's negotiating your dental benefits now has a case to go to an employer and say, let's jack
You
that
gotta
up.
pick it up. Yeah. Pick it up or I'm quitting. I'm quitting that
And I'm
program.
going-
I will eliminate the program and I will go to the federal program because it will give me better coverage.
Yeah. So these are more difficult times. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine how much harder they would be if we had made tons of incorrect decisions or unwise decisions or decisions just to get us through the nanosecond rather than for the long term. It's very, very important. In politics, people rarely will present to you the counterfactual. Things are terrible now. Yeah, but what if we hadn't? What if we don't? What would happen then? Especially if they don't have a point to make. And it's not in their interest to talk about the counterfactual. But always remember that, kids, when you're talking about political literacy, when you're talking about media literacy. Always ask yourself the question, but what if we didn't?
Mm-hmm.
What if we did take Pierre's policy over Trudeau's?
Where would we be?
What if we had
shudder
cut
to
the
think.
COVID supports 2 or 3 months after we got the vaccine?
Well, and he wanted to, what was Pierre Poilievre's program? We're gonna cut taxes. How does that? How is cutting taxes going to benefit somebody who no longer has an income? I don't have money coming in. How am I going to pay for my rent and put food on my table if you cut my taxes? This has got to be the dumbest economic policy I've ever heard of. And I'm not an economist, but I do understand how business works, and I do understand that if you don't have money, you can't pay for things. Cutting my taxes, reducing my taxes, hey, how is that helping the vast majority of Canadians? Oh, that's right, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It will help a few wealthy people, though.
Yep. You've got lots of memes going
And
on
that's
right
all.
now talking about, oh, remember this guy when Harper cut 2% off the GST? And then like, now look what Carmen, Trudeau's imposing a new tax every day. He's not imposing a new tax every day. But
No,
really,
he's not.
it's like, Prime Minister Harper had a $13 billion a year surplus, which ended up
Pissed it away.
valued at $17 billion a year a few years later, had he maintained it. Yes. And he pissed it all away on a 2 cents on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you feel that?
No, actually, I did feel some negative effects of his spending and his economy and his economic forecasting because
He added $107 billion to the debt during his term.
And he went to CRA and said, go after the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
So those of us who cannot defend ourselves against a big government entity, not to mention the fact that a lot of times the stuff they came after us with was absolute horseshit. But you know how many people had their wages garnished during the Harper years who did not actually deserve it? They could have worked something out, but instead Harper said, no, get the money from them, but let the wealthy people continue to hide it in Panama. Did not go after those who are hiding billions, but went after those of us who might have owed a couple of $100.
Yeah. These decisions matter. See, PNC Bio, I got audited while I was on ODSP. Like, come on.
Punching down.
Who's got time for that?
They punch down. What was it, David? Our friend David Moskop said, always punch up, never punch down.
Yep. Ah, man, I tell you, some people.
I got a couple of things for you here, a couple of cartoons that I saw, one from Theo, one from Michael DeHatter. I'll show you the Theo one. I think you'll like this. This is quite good, and I'll read it for the kids who are listening to the audio version only. Vladimir Putin sitting at his desk on the phone. You, sir, are a stand-up guy. in the first column. The second panel, a real prince. The third panel, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And in the fourth panel, it's Pierre Poliver on his phone with a newspaper in his hand that says cons oppose Ukraine trade deal. And the thought bubble is, he likes me. Here's the thing. Putin did comment about the cons voting against that deal.
Yes, he did.
Do you think Poliver's a puppet of Putin? Do you think he's an asset? Because I'm beginning to think, look, you get the paint by numbers, and that image is really starting to form. He only wants to investigate Beijing, not China, Beijing. He's against any influence investigations for Russia and India. Absolutely dead set against that. And he still doesn't have his clearance, his NISICOP clearance. And here's the thing about clearance. It has to be renewed every 5 years. And depending upon the level, it might be every 2 years. But when you have a radical change in your life, like getting married, you need to go through that clearance again. And he refuses to get it. And his excuse is because Justin Trudeau can put something in front of me and say it's top secret, and then I can't talk about it. He wants to rage farm about stuff he knows nothing about. And here's the last cartoon. The two wise men and one blithering idiot on camels approaching the manger for the birth of Christ, if you celebrate or believe in that. Frankincense, myrrh, and Doug Ford on a camel with beer. Michael D'Adder, brilliant cartoonist.
And of course, if you know it, it's gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So I guess Doug Ford was in charge of bringing the gold and brought beer instead. I had not seen that one. Oh my God.
Yeah, that just popped up about 15 minutes ago on Michael D'Adder's timeline.
Oh my word. Mr. Grizzly, I have one more before we start signing off. And it's the Andrew Scheer one from back in the days when he was speaker. Now, remember, they were upset because Greg Fergus thanked interim Ontario Liberal leader John Fraser from his office while wearing the robes. Hold my beer, keg. Let's see what Yankee Doodle Andy did.
Do you have a clip or a link for me?
It's in the private chat. I sent you the link.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see it. It didn't pop up for some reason. We got it now.
Yes, Mr. 2% Milk, Blandy, Minivan, who clearly is still washing dishes at restaurant Chez Pierre to cover his debt, allegedly.
Allegedly.
If the House will indulge me, I too just want to, without repeating all the very kind words that have been said, pay my greatest respects to the outgoing Minister of Foreign Affairs. I remember in 1995 when he was first elected at a very young age of 25. I remember riding the bus to school, reading the article about this new member of Parliament, member of the Provincial Parliament from Ottawa, West Nepean, and followed his career with great admiration, and can say that I very much enjoyed working with him in the House. He didn't always make my job in the chair easy, and I think members will miss his perambulations around the chamber during question period and other debates, and miss him for many other reasons as well. And so I just want to pass on my best wishes for the future to the outgoing Minister of Foreign Affairs.
He did it in robes from the Speaker's chair.
In the House of Commons.
But he wanted the black man to be fired. And he did it for a federal cabinet minister, but he wanted the black man to be fired for having done it from his chambers to someone in a whole other level of government. These are
and didn't he just... He did a campaign promotional video from his office the other day, too. Scheer did.
Yep.
For a provincial member of provincial parliament for the Conservative Party. Not even the same party.
Yep. So Kitsine bio. So worse than every conceivable way. Yes, indeed. No, not he is speaker. He was speaker, Dan.
He was speaker.
He was speaker when during the Harper government. Yes. He got to live in that beautiful free housing and whatnot while he was a dual citizen, while he was complaining that the Governor General was as well. And that Stéphane Dion was. and that they shouldn't have their positions because they were, but he was too. But nobody asked him, so it was okay. No, he didn't volunteer it because he went out on that limb. We're talking about inherently duplicitous and dishonest people here. Eyes wide open. Eyes wide open. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right, kits and cubs. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We love making this for you. We really do. And you know what? As rough as I was when I started the show, I'm feeling better now.
Well, that's good.
My mood is much better.
That's good.
I'm happy. I shared
like
some laughs. Got to share a little bit of my problems with you. Thank you for indulging me. I typically don't do that very much on the show. But you've allowed that. And the love you gave meant a lot. And so you guys put a little bit of sunshine in my day, and that helped. And I'm going to be taking that with me throughout the day. So, and I'm sure that a couple of other people's days will be better for it. Because an unhappy beaver makes, more likely to make people around him unhappy as well. So thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. Because sharing is caring. If you wanted to say something, Mr. Grizzly, please jump in.
I'll save it for my words of wisdom.
Okay. Because sharing is caring. Oh, lots of people scanning the QR codes. Lovely. Thank you so much. Yes, I just needed a dose of damn, fam. You're right, Kid Saucy. You're right. Can't go around it. Got to go through it. Just face it head on. The fastest way through your troubles is through it. Not trying to avoid it, not trying to make them go away, just through it.
Dive in head first.
Head first. Put your head down. Keep your values and your priorities straight. And this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yeah. That's the part about being an optimist that works for me. Even when I'm going through tough times, I know it will get better. There you go. Let your peeps and poops know all about us. Please, sharing is caring. Word of mouth is priceless. You have the mouths we want the word coming out of. So please let people know. Really, really appreciate all the work you do to help us do our work. If you want to make sure that you do not miss an episode, thanks to the Ray Girl, you don't have to. Because this fabulous, wonderful person sponsored our pod page for the year. So that little squiggly that's right under me right now, if you scan that with your QR code, that brings us to our pod page site, where if you register there, once we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you, and that way you'll know about it. That's for our ears only versions of our podcasts, which we're a little behind on. This one's my fault. Because I've had a little bit of a bottleneck, so I've not been able to write the descriptions as quickly as I needed to for Mr. Grizzly to be able to put them up. But I will get that done today for you, kits. So thank you for your patience in waiting for that. We really appreciate it. Also, if you want to make like Kit Elaine, because imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, well, then you will go to our True North Eager Beaver YouTube page and click like, share, and subscribe over there, kits. And that way, you will help us get to 1,000, because we've already passed 500. Whoop, whoop. And with 1,000, then they actually start to give us money to be able to do what we do. So it's not bad. It's not bad. But every drop in tittle adds to the pot, as we say. And if you would like to support us directly, well, then that squiggly by Mr. Grizzly's head brings you to the Emergency Hydration Fund here at the Beaver Lodge, where our friends Coffee and Hot Chocolate and Caesar and Fruit Smoothie and Guinness and all the good stuff help keep our vocal cords, see, I need it, vocal cords nice and moist.
And let's not forget Wishful Son, who took care of us on Saturday.
Yes.
While we had the PubCast. Wishful Son picked up our tab. I still am blown away by that.
Yes.
Just absolutely blown away by it. Thank you very much. We're so honored.
Our 3 favorite words, other than like, share, subscribe, were free beer today. And on that day, we got free beer.
We got free beer.
Does life get better? No, it doesn't, kids. It doesn't. It doesn't get better than we're with in the company of the damn fam. But if you would like to subscribe there, only after you've bought your gifts, only after you've done something for yourself, and only after you've done a little something for the world. If you have a little extra word for us, please, we would be very happy to receive it. But only after you've taken care of all the other stuff. All right? 'Tis the season to be generous. So if there's people that have greater need than we do. Okay?
Yes.
Very important. Because democracy is something that you do, write those letters to your MPs, your MPPs, your MLAs, your senators, members of your media. If they're not covering something that you feel needs to be covered, if they're not addressing something that needs to be addressed, if you are as incensed as we are that the Conservatives are not supporting a national food school program for kids, write a letter, handwritten, send it. Better yet, pick up a phone, ask for a meeting, or go to the constituency office and ask for a meeting. I'm here to see my elected representative. We need to have a talk. We need to give a little performance review here. That's what matters. And if you have some time, run for something. School boards, municipal politics, particularly, because there's a campaign from the other side to overtake those and overwhelm us. So if you want to get your body into the game, all right, we need it. It's not a spectator sport. All right, get your XBB shots. Keep our hospitals unclogged. I'm seeing the numbers going on Twitter. There's lots of stuff going on. So let's make sure that the hospitals are there for the people who need them, the most vulnerable, and those among us who are in emergency situations, so that we don't have to wait as long as we are. And of course, the Red Cross is still looking for donations, because a lot of Canadians have gone through a lot of things this summer and need your help. We've had tornadoes, we've had floods, we've had fire. A lot of people are rebuilding. So anything that we can do, the right neighborly thing, if you're Canadian, make sure that you're doing it. Okay. From the Eager Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, it could be a tough world out there. I can attest. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Some days I wake up and I feel horrible and have that self-loathing that the depression screams in your own ear about how you're not worthwhile, you're not worth anything, you're worthless, you're useless, to blah, 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 blah. And that makes it difficult to get through the day. I'll admit it. It makes it difficult. But what I've found, a way to help yourself, is show extra kindness to everyone around you on those days, and it will help lift your soul up a little bit. Remember to take deep breaths, which will help calm you when you're feeling anxious, and when you're feeling depressed, smile and laugh, even when it's fake. Your brain knows it, but your brain chemicals don't. Laughter helps make you feel better. So even when you fake laugh, and even when you fake smile, the brain chemicals respond accordingly, because they don't have the ability to think, this isn't real. They just respond. So on a day where you're having a tough time, if you're feeling rough, smile at everyone you see. Be kind to everyone you see. Have a nice chat with everyone you see, because guess what? You don't know what they're going through. And your tough day, if you try and turn it around by being extra kind to somebody else, could help lift them up and pick them up. On that note, I will have a show tonight at 9:30 on my ASMR channel.
All right. Mr. Grizzly, I think that we have an interesting Easter egg coming up. But before we do that, roll the credits, please.
I will do that, sir. Where are they? There they are.
Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
All right.
I
Mr.
have a
Easter
little-
Bunny, show us what we got.
Little Easter egg. It's 1 minute and 58 seconds from a good friend of ours. I think you'll enjoy this because I know I do. Let me just bring this right up here on the screen.
So just found out that our Canada Proud lawsuit fundraiser, Canada Proud sued us for $200,000 for embarrassing them. Still makes me laugh. But it's a weird lawsuit. And stands to damage us if we don't service this properly. But it's also an opportunity to get some information about how Canada Proud works, how misinformation works. And so they sent a letter to my lawyer basically saying, we don't like Dean's fundraiser. We don't like the bad PR. Let's hurry this up. So what does that do? Gives us an opportunity to look at how Canada Proud works through the process of discovery. That's what happens in court cases. So we're going to have a look at, hopefully, communications, receipts, ledgers, donations, finances. And they opened the door. So why don't we all walk through it together? Knowing misinformation and disinformation and rage farming has divided so many Canadians is very important to us, very important to me, that we help get to the bottom of it. So, you know, when opportunity knocks, I think some people look at lawsuits like they're the end of the world. We don't. We look at this like it's an opportunity to get Canadians together, to have a stake in trying to figure out legally how all of these different networks work. And you know that they do work, and you know that certain networks enlist the help of bots and trolls to be able to further their messaging and organize, in some cases, real hate speech and stochastic terror amongst Canadians. So we're going to go through the process because of you. This GoFundMe link, if you could share it, we'd really appreciate it. I know it's Sunday. I know you guys have done incredible work, but we're super close to our goal. And if you could figure out a way to help, we'd appreciate it. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.
Whoops. My window, I got stuff popping up on my screen there.
So kids, just so you know, the goal was $25,000 and I went to check it. We're at 21,996 from 528
we're almost there.
donations. That is
We're almost there. I've donated.
88% of the goal. 88% of the way there. Yes. And for some reason, if they are sending letters saying, we don't like what you're doing, we need to speed this up, I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I just have a feeling that when we get to discovery, they might decide to, no, let's forget the whole thing. But let's also remember that we here at the Crier Media Network are not only defending, we are countersuing.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a little difficult for them to say, no, let's forget the whole thing. Because we're not just, no, we want this to go away. You guys don't want to do this? Okay, fine, we're good with that too. No, we want to know. So usually when people want to go faster, scream if you want to go faster. I think we found the part on the body where it hurts. So let's squeeze.
Certainly looks like it.
Have a wonderful day, kids. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, there is a part 2 being planned. Your Queen Beaver might or might not have something to be doing with that.
Okay.
So you know.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. I'll see you.